Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This is a Sunday night where I'm at. It was a pretty good day. I watched some NFL football. My team actually won, which is fairly rare, I might add. Also, I went to a theme park with the family, rode some roller coasters. That was good, and smoked some chicken wings. So that was good too. So it was a pretty nice Sunday for me. I hope yours was as well. Quick Bitcoin update, even though price is pretty much where it was this morning, a little bit higher than where it was yesterday. It's a pretty eventful day. There was some news coming out that Citi, a very big US bank, is trying to be creative with a new sort of instrument, like an ADR. They're calling it like a digital depository receipt. It's some creative way to allow Bitcoin to be listed, which that remains to be seen. But Citi is obviously very powerful, very big in the U.S., has SEC connections. So the more people, the more big, powerful banks like that, whether it's Citi or Goldman, or you have exchanges like ICE get involved. I mean, clearly they're working and they're going to make adoption a lot easier for us. So that was very positive news. On the negative side, the SEC came out and mentioned that they will suspend trading for an ETN, a Bitcoin ETN here in the US. This ETN is based upon a Swedish product. It is not a big deal at all, so do not worry about that. The Citi news is a very big deal, very positive, and the Swedish ETN is not. And the Citi news also compounds on the fact that you have BOCT and you have various other things potentially coming in the fourth quarter, maybe even an ETF. Who knows? That's what makes me very, very bullish fundamentally in the fourth quarter. Just kind of waiting and seeing. In terms of the near-term price action, we've been in a ranging market, like I've said many times, and we're at the bottom of that range, which is about 6,000, a little bit higher than that. Again, as you guys know, quantitative. I fully recognize there's not much statistical difference between 5750, 6000, 6250. It's all basically the same. You should not necessarily care either. So we're close to the bottom of the range, which makes it a fairly decent time to buy if you're so inclined. Of course, as a disclaimer, all this is just for informational purposes only. I'm not advising anybody. It all depends on your own personal risk tolerance in your own situation, which I am not aware of. So let's just jump right into the model itself. Just to remind you guys, I generally like to buy the green coins. So here you can see ink down to kin, even storage, all the way down here are green. Now, I generally buy the upper green. So in terms of percentile, 0 to 10%, maybe 0 to 25%. That's generally the range I like to buy, but I will be more than happy to hold greens. I generally do not sell until it falls below 50%, 50 percentile. And even then, if it's like 51st percentile, I may or may not sell. It just depends. That's my own personal bias. But if something's like the 90th percentile, I will certainly sell, and I will probably sell pretty quick, maybe even market order. It just depends. So that's generally how I use this model. Like you guys know, I post it pretty much every day. I think I have for the past month and a half almost. So you guys get an early look at it and kind of have a good idea what my portfolio might be in any given day. In terms of performance of the model, it is kicking butt, as it has been since I went live, but also the legitimate out of sample back test is fantastic. If you're watching this, you've probably seen it before, but basically the models killed it in the back test, whether looking at 2016, 2017, even 2018. It beats the worst coin selected. So this model assumes rebalance into the top 10 percentile every day, and that portfolio has absolutely crushed the worst 10%. So it does a great job telling you what to get into, and it tells you what to avoid. The model also does a fantastic job beating all coins, which you can see over here. So columns M and N are excess returns. Basically, they're positive no matter what month you look at, what year. So the model is done absolutely fantastic. This is all out of sample data, no data mining, anything like that. So what about recently? The model has done really fantastic, I might add. I actually need to update this real fast. Maybe I will do it in real time for you guys. So let me get my spreadsheet. I thought I've updated this here. So basically, I run the model in R. It spits out a CSV file, and then I paste it into here. Let's see if it did. It did. Okay. So you can see September 9th, yesterday, the top 10 percentile returned 3.2%. The bottom 10 percentile was negative 1.41. The top 10 was by far the best returning portion of the model, as expected. It is kicking butt. If you look at September, it is beating the bottom 10% by 7% and all coins by about 5%. Just kind of the same old. It just keeps chugging along, keeps adding value. Very excited about this. It's tremendously helped my portfolio out. I feel a lot more confident in the way my long portion of my crypto book is because of this model. So if you guys have any questions regarding the model, feel free to ask. In terms of what the model likes and dislikes, again, you can go back to this page and kind of scroll through it. I'm going to kind of give you an idea on this tab I call Love Hate, which is basically the coins the model likes and dislikes. So first, and this is also why the model likes or dislikes it. So I'm kind of peeling back down in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit what the model is made of. I have 6 categories here. I know I've talked about this before, but just to kind of give you guys an update, 6 categories here, but underneath the 6 categories, there's many other factors. So this is kind of like an aggregation of the reversal factor, momentum, value. Alive is kind of like being a big mega cap, being lower risk and being lower volume, less liquid. And where it falls in this spectrum here, kind of dark red to dark green, shows you how impactful this factor is in terms of coming up with its score, with its ranking. So not all factors mean the same. They're all not as impactful as each other, but they all have their own importance in their own unique way. So take Ripple XRP right here. It's getting a lot of its favorability here because it's a big cap. Big caps have been doing well recently and historically, so it likes it. It likes Ripple also because it has lower risk right here. Sorry about that. I'm just clicking. I don't like Google Docs. But it doesn't like Ripple because it's a little bit higher volume. And then it doesn't like Ripple here because it has actually been beaten down as much, even though people make fun of it. Obviously, a lot of altcoins are a lot worse than Ripple, but it has very favorable momentum. So kind of put it all together, put it into the blender, so to speak, and it comes out as a top 10 percentile coin because of the big cap focus, because it's lower risk, and because it has some solid momentum. And really, it has a few things going against it, but nothing too extreme. And this is actually a coin I own. All 3 of these Love coins I own personally. And then what about Stellar? It's just actually popped in. It's been creeping up a little bit. So I think I bought it yesterday, maybe bought a little bit more today. It has very positive momentum. Again, very big cap and has very low, very, very low risk. So that is a great coin to own right now. Very good prospects for the next day or week. Storage is another one, a little outside the top 10. But again, I'm very happy to even buy this and I own it. So I will continue to hold it. What is good about storage right now? It's expecting a reversal. So it hasn't done very well recently. It's expecting to bounce back. And then it's also pretty low risk. And it has lower liquidity. Lower liquidity coins generally do a little bit better. What about on the hate side? You have HOT, which is the shill of the week for crypto Twitter. But I don't shill because everyone else is. I'm just following the data here. So what about HOT? Well, it's been hot, right? So it's expected to reverse, which is a negative sign. Momentum is very strong for them. Also, it has not been beaten down at all, as you'd expect. It's a relatively recently launched coin, and it hasn't been beaten down. So its value is very low. It's been kind of punching above its market cap for a while, which makes it very alive in this model. But the risk is very, very high. So combine the high risk with the probability of reversal. The model does not like something like that. What about nucleus fission and cash? Again, a little bit higher risk, but Cash has very negative momentum and it is higher liquidity. Put all that into that blender, the chili pot, stir it up, and it becomes a very negative outlook for the next day or week. Status, again, a very liquid coin. A little bit lower value, a little bit lower reversal. Nothing that's really super positive here, but only really one thing that's very negative. Again, this is a combination of many things, 16 things put together. Put it all together, and you have a bottom 10 percentile coin. I mean, the value sticks out to me is a little bit below average. Reversal, like I mentioned. The risk is about average. Then I have a bunch of other coins I just tossed in here. You have Bitcoin, which of course I own in a few portions of my book. Why does the model like Bitcoin? It's the least riskiest coin on the board. You could see its alive factor is here. And here's a good example. Bitcoin obviously would be the most liquid coin and probably the most alive coin in this model. However, it's not all the way at the end of the scale. Why? Because something like risk matters more than being liquid or being a kind of big cap or punching above your weight. So that's just something to keep an eye on. In terms of valuation, Bitcoin has fallen the least out of basically every coin. So it has very little valuation. Its momentum is fairly strong, and its reversal, it's actually supposed to underperform going forward due to reversal. You might ask why. We had Bloody Wednesday. A couple days ago, we fell a little bit more. How can I actually have negative reversal? Well, this whole multi-factor model is based upon what they call the cross-section. I'm looking across all coins at time zero, at one point in time. Bitcoin has actually outperformed basically many coins in the near term. Even though it's down less. So that's expected to reverse a little bit. But again, you put all this into the blender. It has some negative aspects, very negative aspects, some very positive. Ends up 26 percentile, not bad. And then I don't necessarily need to go through all of these. They're here for you. They're in my spreadsheet. You're very welcome to take a look. You have something like Pundy here, 39th percentile, very risky with high value here. It's beaten down. Pretty good momentum and some negative reversal for Pundy. What about Litecoin? Expecting a little bit of underperformance due to reversal. It kind of trades like Bitcoin, just not as extreme. So Bitcoin might go down 5, Litecoin might go down 6, but every other altcoin might go down 8 or 9 or something like that. So very much in line with Bitcoin across a lot of metrics here. It's just a little less extreme. What about something like Icon? It actually didn't do too well recently, so it expects a positive reversal. It hasn't done too well over the past couple of weeks, so it has negative momentum, has high valuation. It's one of the coins that fell more than others. In terms of risk, it's actually elevated as well. So that is not a good sign for Icon. But you put it all together, it's about 45th percentile. Something maybe I wouldn't necessarily sell right away, but I wouldn't be antsy to buy right now. We have things like Monero. In terms of momentum, it's very positive, yet it's percentile 70th. So clearly we're going to see some things that offset that positive momentum. Its valuation is very negative here. It's actually done pretty well in terms of keeping up. It hasn't fallen as much. In terms of reversal, slightly below. And also risk is about average, and liquidity is a little bit above. So put all that together, 70th percentile. I don't own it, but if I did, I'd be probably looking to sell it. Again, this is all informational purposes only. That's all I will go through today. Again, I appreciate you joining me. I continue to support the effort and check out the spreadsheet basically every day. I have a bunch of YouTube videos coming out. I put together a awesome presentation on stop losses that I'm going to record maybe tonight, maybe even tomorrow. Not exactly sure, but it's going to walk through all the things that can go wrong with stop losses, when you should use them, when you shouldn't use them, and some of the extra nuances. It should be great, especially for those that are still learning how to trade, or more importantly, become a portfolio manager of your own money. And that's the most important thing. I want to teach you guys how to be a PM of your own money. You can't just treat each trade as an isolated event. You have to treat them all together. So that's kind of my mission here, and I appreciate you guys joining me. Hopefully your Sunday went as well as mine did. Hopefully Bitcoin has a pretty good week coming up. Anyways, take care, and we will talk soon.